Hi everyone, this is Rochelle and you are listening to myself, Rochelle. We are here at the STEAM Power and we are going to be discussing all things about STEM. And today we have Rochelle, Rochelle Robb, and she is early years leader in a school in East London. And she's going to be talking about how herself and her team are actually promoting STEM learning in the community, in the school. So welcome, Rochelle.
Hello, hi, I'm Rochelle Robb. I've been a teacher for almost 12 years. Have a lot of experience in a variety of earlier settings in inner city schools. I've even done some consulting, helping private nurseries as well, improve their settings in line with Ofsted criteria and the early learning framework. At my school, we do a lot of different types of STEM learning through independent child-initiated play and through our lessons and topic lessons and science lessons that we incorporate through understanding of the world. Through understanding of the world. In my school, we're very heavy on ensuring that children get a lot of enriched activities. Thank you. So we do a lot of planned activities around topics and themes that we've planned throughout the year to ensure that children get enriched experiences. Now, where I work in Barking, children don't have a lot of those experiences at home. So what
are the expectations? What do you think are the parents' expectations when the children come to the door, when they start early years?
Well, I don't think a lot of the children that we get, they live in a deprived area. Okay, so in Barking, the children that we get are very Barking is a deprived area. So children coming to us on baseline, probably about 23% of children are on track to where they should be. I think the parents don't have a good understanding of children where they should be for their age range when they're coming into school. I think a lot of them rely on the school as the starting point for their children's learning, not because they don't care, but a lot of them don't know.
Okay.
And a lot of them have been dealing with their own personal circumstances. Maybe they're new to the UK, they've been moving, and a lot of them are coming from temporary housing.
Okay, so what's the population like in terms of race and ethnicity? So
my school, probably 80% are Black African.
Okay.
And then we have the next, probably 15% is Asian. And then the final part is maybe Polish, Eastern European. That's kind of the makeup of our school.
All right. So can you describe? Thank you. Can you describe what's the day like? How does the day begin?
So a day in early years. So today we were learning about, I'll give a day from last week. Learning about fireworks. Children come in, the tables are set, there's different activities, some maybe science experiments set up for them to practice by themselves, maybe some vinegar, carbonate soda, some food colorings. They're getting on with those activities and they're able to choose and free flow whenever they want throughout the day. We usually start the week by kicking off with a fun, exciting topic lesson. Now this could range from the development matters. We really look at the areas of understanding of the world, people and communities. That's what we mainly focus our topic on. And with understanding of the world, we love experiments. So this week we did the Mentos and Coca-Cola experiment, filled the Mentos up, did predictions of what they thought was going to happen, looked at the fizzy bubbles in the bottle and explained why they might be there. We put Mentos in water, we put Mentos in orange, we put Mentos in milk, and put Mentos in the fizzy water. We looked at the different outcomes.
Excellent. Can I ask you what, in regards to that, what is the vocabulary, the expected vocabulary after a session like this, or after a week of that type of week of learning? So what do the children come up to tell you?
We try to use high-level words. So we talk about gases, bubbles, explosions, I will ask them to make a prediction. We'll talk about making an experiment. What I'd usually do, I usually put on my lab coat, my glasses. They know it's a science lesson by the way that I'm dressed. And we try to think about those high level order of vocabulary. We don't want to limit them. I think what's been said is that we limit children's vocabulary by thinking that they don't understand it. And actually, we just need to expose them to the words. And you'll be really surprised with what children come out with.
How do children work together to build that scientific knowledge?
Well, what's good is they've done it with me to begin with. So if we've done activities as a class, I model how to go about a scientific experiment. I model how to ask questions, make predictions, observe. So what's great about in my classroom, there's little pods around, like for example, we have a pet area. And in that area, what is left is key questions, there's goggles and there's magnifying glasses just left for children to make their observations, talk about what might be happening. Also, we do experiments where we leave things for them to go back to. So, for example, we've had the dirty hand bread experiment, where we had to have our controlled bread that nobody touched. We used that language, the dirty hand bread and the clean hand bread. And we all put them in the bags and we left them out for a few weeks, and children would go back and observe what it is. So it's having that available to them, so they're seeing things change in front of their eyes, and just modeling that type of language, the modeling the behaviors, and children, they're so young, they just imitate exactly what you do.
And how do you ensure that the children continue with that learning at home?
Well, we do home challenges. Home, and the children are able to send observations back. The parents are able, to send observations back home for us to see. And we also like to do, what does that look like at home? So next time you're out, ask your mummies and daddies. And we really try to put things in a real life context. So having, like, for example, the juices on the table, the milk, it's all things that they will probably see in their everyday life when it comes to an experiment. So we really try to make it focused around things that they would be experiencing anyways. And then once they go home, then they can connect the dots. Once again, if they see bubbles in their drink, they'll know, oh, that's gas, mummy. And then they'll carry on those conversations. But we do ensure that the parents know what we're learning on a weekly basis. We send our observations home for the parents to see what's been happening, so they can continue those conversations and use the language that I've written in the observation at home as well.
How does the book gonna look like when you are talking about science, for instance, fireworks? So what type of books can the children access, and so their parents at home?
So usually, sometimes we map things around, well, when it came to fireworks, we mapped it around, obviously Diwali was coming up, and things that were happening and celebrations that they were going to expect, they were going to see. So by mapping books and stories about things that are actually happening in their lives, just actually combines it all together. So we do have some Asian children that were celebrating Diwali. We read about the fireworks. We read about Guy Fawkes. And so children would have been having fireworks in their back garden, seeing them from their flat apartment windows. And then they would continue those conversations. But we do have a variety of books, non-fiction and fiction books, that touch on the topics. And we usually leave those out in the reading areas for them. But once again, like I said, we send out a medium-term plan to parents, so they'll see the stories that they're going to be using and can use those as well.
Is about careers. I know they're very young, but I remember when I used to work in early years, some children were able to tell us that they wanted to be either doctors, fire brigade, and what have you. So what are their expectations when they are 3 and 4? Do they talk about what they want to be when they grow up?
Well, in our area, I think speech and language is below average in my area. So when our children come in, I don't feel that they have enough knowledge of the jobs around us to know what they want to be. For that reason, especially, and that's mainly my area, my school, we realise that that is an issue. So that's why we provide as much during our topics and the themes fed through there. They're able to see different types of job roles. So a lot of early years will have that topic, people who help us. And from there, we'll look at all the different job types of emergency services, our parents, people in our school and our local community. And from there, they'll build up their vocabulary. But through most of the topics, you'll find that there's somebody that has a job that will explain their job roles. So whether it be a topic on food, we have the chef. And the way that we do it is we role play. So when I teach lessons, if it's a cooking lesson, I'm a chef. I'll wear the chef outfit. They'll wear the chef outfits too. If we're becoming scientists, we wear the scientist outfits. If today we're learning about firefighters and we're going to be creating a firefighter fire engine, everyone's got the firefighter costume on, and we're being firefighters together. And then just putting them in role, you know, and infusing their imagination, I think helps them as well.
Most
in
definitely.
Terms of understanding. Yeah,
definitely. And you know that right now, diversity is something that is out there in the news, and many organizations are very aware that the conversation about race needs to be had. So is it a topic that is explained or role played in any shape or form in early years?
Well, it's funny that you say this. So I've currently just formed a new company called IME, and IME focuses on representation within the early years for, you know, children from African and Caribbean heritage. I know they might say that children don't see colour. In fact, they see colour, but they don't see it with as many stereotypes as when it first begins with. So, for example, my daughter saw a picture of a family on the bus, and she called them the Yellow Family. When I asked her who they were and I looked on the bus, it was the Simpsons. So she identified them by the colour, and then straight away, so they see it. And obviously they see stereotypes. Children come to school, they know what is supposed to be for boys and what's supposed to be for girls. So they can show from the experiences of what they might see in their home life or on the TV, they also have those stereotypes about race. What we try to do is make sure that we show a variety of situations in a variety of ethnicities. So being very mindful about what you do. And as a teacher, you're supposed to be mindful. Everything you do is supposed to be deliberate. A picture is supposed to be thought of, and you're meant to think about how that will impact the children that you have in the class. So we're for me, I'm particular about what I put up, making sure there's a good variety of representation, boys, girls, ethnicities, skin colours, of a range of skin colours, not just black or just white, making sure there's different tones when it comes to painting pictures. And making sure that when we do show different job roles, we just bring in a variety of people from different backgrounds as well to share their experiences in class. And that's what we really try to do. And my organisation are actually building a curriculum whereby early years teachers can take lessons and add them to their topics, just to add that bit of diversity into their teaching.
Right. And do the parents ask you how they can have that conversation at home about racism or about race in itself?
I don't think they do. I think they're just happy, a lot of them, and with my class being about 80%, you know, Black Africans, they're happy when they see me there at the door. And I think that's the yes for them. Yeah, that's their yes for them. But yeah, I don't think the conversation's open enough about it between parents. There's some that I've had to have heart-to-hearts in my career with, where, you know, parents might feel that they don't trust the school when it comes to race, and feel that their children might be targeted because of their race. And even though I might be Black, they still feel that I'm part of the system and might not want to open up to me. And, you know, I've had parents refuse help for their children who clearly need it because they feel that it's because of the way, the colour of their skin. And I've had to tell them that, no, Mum, I think your child needs this speech and language. It's not because your child's Black, I'm Black, and I think that he needs it more than ever. And I'd have to have those heart-to-heart conversations and say, it's because I care, and it's not because of any system that's trying to hold your son back.
Why do you think that is? Because that's a comment that I actually hear a lot. Parents distrusting teachers and distrusting schools, especially when it comes to special needs for their children. Why do you think that is?
It's hard because maybe they've had their own experience with it. Maybe because, you know, maybe for me, I'm a single mom. Maybe it's already you're a single mom and you're failing. You're not going to do well by your son, per se, because it mainly is mums with sons, you know, or the sons that the boys that seem to have the harder experiences at school. In terms of special educational needs. And I think that maybe there's so much stigma around it that you don't want to feel like you're failing. And I think that it's more personal than anything, I think. Because, you know, I feel like, you know, they might feel like society's eyes are already on them. And that's what I think in general. But actually being able to tell from one person to another that, no, it's not that. In fact, I care. You know, I think one parent thought that it was somebody else that said that her child needed speech and language. And I said, no, Mum, it's me. I'm saying he needs it. Yeah. I'm saying he needs it because I care and I want him to do well.
All right. And in terms of attainment, are you starting to see a disparity between girls and boys at an early age? Yeah,
it's about, but the girls generally do better than the boys. But I think it's, and in early years, if you've got it right, you're really thinking out of the box about how to engage your boys in activities that will boost their attainment. And if you're not thinking that way and you're being very rigid or narrow-minded in the way that you approach things, if you're being very narrow in the way that you approach the situation, then your boys will not flourish. I think sometimes boys' behaviour might be looked at something of concern, and actually, you know, you're not stimulating them, or you're trying to channel the energy elsewhere that could help them thrive. And I think if you're a really good practitioner, that you should be able to fine tune and hone in on those things to ensure that your children succeed on both sides.
All right, excellent. And lastly, what you spoke earlier about how your organization aims to support more diversity in early years. So what is the bigger project that you have with that at the moment?
So we're currently completing the curriculum. Our first unit is going to be released in January. And this unit is probably like an autumn term unit on self-love and identity. It just looks at, from a Black experience of the all about me topic that usually happens in early years. We talk about brushing our teeth, keeping our hands washed, you know, and we add those things in. We talk about creaming our skins and doing our hair. And we have lots of activities. We have lots of activities and lessons and worksheets and visual representation that teachers can just take and use in the classroom. We also had misconceptions, for example, little things that you take for granted because we think we know, but not everybody knows. When you're talking about embarrassment, that a Black child might not blush. And their cheeks might turn pink. Be mindful of that when you're talking about it, you know. And we talk about making sure, like I've explained this, that when you are doing self-portraits, that you've allowed for a range of colours to be picked that suit the different colour tones of the children in your class. That shows that you're thinking of them. And that they're able to then choose something that matches them and have that conversation with them. I'm in a class 80%, like I said, Black African, and probably about out of that, when I was doing the lesson on our skin tones and choosing a self-portrait, some wanted to pick peach, some wanted to pick black, and you know that wasn't what they were. So you know, having those conversations, making sure that you are deliberate about those things. You're teaching children about themselves. So you want to teach them to colour themselves in peach. You would like to correct things, just like you'd correct it in maths, in literacy. We can correct it everything. So our curriculum really focuses on that. We have vocabulary explanations for vocabulary and different types of like objects or words that are common in the Black community that they might not understand the definition of, and we've just made it really, really, really clear for them. So hopefully, you know, once we get it out there, some teachers can be more appreciative of having a curriculum that they can, you know, not feel scared to teach because they're scared that they're going to say something wrong.
All right, excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. Any last thoughts on what you're currently doing and what's happening in the classrooms, especially now with the COVID?
I think being a teacher and even doing with STEM learning is be creative, and I think that just goes wherever you are, regardless of what I'm doing in terms of representation. Be creative. I think if you think out of the box, try and make things as exciting as possible, however you can, and think about the children in your class. Think about what they need, and if you do that, which you're supposed to do, then every child will matter like it's supposed to. And just don't be lazy. Take your time to be deliberate about the things that you do. You know, it takes 2 seconds. You know, it doesn't take 2 seconds, but you can download a template, and it's of a white child with two bunches for the children to colour in, when actually my class is 80% Black. So that template with 2 bunches doesn't work for my children. You know, what takes me a little 5 minutes to change the outline and change those bunches into Afro puffs for some of the other children. It's little things like that that show that you care and will make a difference to your children in terms of how they see themselves in society and in the bigger picture.
All right, thank you very much. So that was all from Rochelle. And if people want to contact you, would you be happy for people to do so?
Yeah, we could definitely.
Are you on social media at all?
Yes, my business is at iam.me.uk. And that's for the I Am Me, and for me, I'm at Miss Rob 85.
All right, excellent.
On Instagram.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your information, and I hope that parents take note and teachers take action and incorporate some of these tips in their classroom, either in the classroom or in a home setting in their tutors as well. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.